The WaterCure by Sophie Mackintosh. Rating 2 out of 5. 10-word description. Toxic feminist fiction with weird descriptions but a striking ending. I've got so much to say about this book that I need to hurry up and just say it. God. Okay, number 1. Grace, Leah and Sky have grown up thinking that there is a contamination in the world outside their small family bubble. That contamination is men. So their parents have protected them in isolation, never allowing them to have contact with the outside world away from their island. That is until their parents disappear and then 3 men wash ashore. I mean, it's a great concept. One I really thought I was gonna like. Check out my other video. It's very weird and I don't necessarily mind weird, and you might think that this would be dystopian. But point number 2, the whole thing gets super weird super quick, even before the other men arrive. These poor kids have been subject to these weird, messed up rituals at the hands of their own parents. And you start to wonder whether this is more of a cult type book than a dystopian type book. Does this contamination that they speak of even exist, or is it just what they've used as an excuse to continue their abuse of these children? This is not a spoiler, this happens pretty quick. They've even been convinced that the sea is poisonous. Like death rituals, I don't know. They're only allowed to love one family member the most for a year. I mean, it's actually not quite a bad idea, it's much less effort. But still, it's just very weird. Number 3, I can't call this a feminist book, even though it says it on the back by the Sunday Times. I personally don't feel okay with calling it a feminist book. It felt more like men are trash, hate men, all men should die. Which, by the way, is not feminism, need I have to remind you. All of the men were these like sexualized, horny creatures who were just and all of the women were hateful or fearful of men and weren't particularly empowered. So I just can't call it feminist. Just talking about the male characters just slightly. The dad in this, add him to the list of my most hated characters ever. He's such a predator and I just hate him and But yeah, it's not a feminist book at all because it doesn't represent the equality of both sexes nor the empowerment of women either. So I just think that I was missold this book. It's more of a like misandrist cult book, in my opinion. Point number 4. So why, I hear you asking, why have you given it still 2 stars? Because you haven't been very positive so far. Well, the ending of this was just so strikingly beautiful to me and really shocked me that it made me bump it up. It was worth reading the rest of the book, which was kind of weird and strange and uncomfortable, just to get to this really revealing ending. The whole way through, we've more or less heard from just Leah's perspective. Towards the ending of this book, we start to hear from Grace's perspective. I feel like Mackintosh really put her full effort and full skill at the end of this book, really tied the book together really well. She ends up revealing several things which help make it all make sense. So I actually was gonna DNF this, and I'm really glad I didn't, because by the time I got to the end, it really did make me appreciate the book a little bit more. Number 5. I'm giving my favourite line a whole point on my memos just because I just think it was so beautiful, and it's a line that really, really stuck with me. And again, it comes in that last section of the writing, so where I think Mackintosh really showed herself to be the most fantastic author, with a few bits skipped out in the middle. But love was a great educator over the last years, and especially those last months with you. It taught me, first of all, that women could be enemies too, past, present and future. It taught me that loss is a thing that builds around you, that what feels like safety is often just the absence of current harm, and those 2 things are not the same. Oof, I just love that line, honestly. The rest of the book could have been trash, but I don't know why, but that line just did bits for me. Take a read of this if you're curious. If you like cult stuff, maybe you just want to garner your own opinion on this. Maybe you think that it is feminist and you might have a way to explain it to me better. I know that this was quite popular on booktube and bookstagram like maybe 2 years ago. Yeah, 2018, 2 years ago. And I know a lot of people were slating it or hating it or loving it or whatever and commenting on it. So I'm definitely late to the game with this one, but I still think it is worth a read just to try and gauge what your opinion is on it. So please let me know if you've read this. As usual, comment, like and subscribe to the video. Thanks very much for watching. Peace out, mother truckers. You are a farmer and at their place.